lines. Gee, 40. Well, can you give me a little? Oh, never mind.
So, welcome to the Real News.
Why
real
we know we should
special
say
edition.
one. Why aren't we having turkey tonight? Because Christopher Columbus, when he landed in the United States, thought he was in India, so that's why we're having lamb vindaloo. We're honoring the true Indians
Oh,
of
right.
India. And a little Italian because he was from Italy.
Yeah, that's right.
But not that we should honor him.
I heard he was Jewish.
Columbus was Jewish?
Yeah, Italian Jew.
That would make sense.
Mary Vespucci discovered America.
This has got to put on something else. I mean, it's too hot. You got to put this on there. I'm going to have a big ring on the table.
Right here.
No, honey, it can't be
She's
on
saying
the
the heat's going to
table.
go through.
Oh, the heat will go
Can
right
she
through?
put it on
Put
this?
it on that thing, just behind you. Yeah, just move the flowers. Do you want salad?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Honey? It's gonna be on the Real News.
Yes, so what was it you were saying about Obama?
Where do we begin?
Where do we begin? His ancestry.
Well, it seems to be related to Dick Cheney.
Mm-hmm.
It's like strike one.
Yeah. You hear what Kathleen
Obama is
says?
related to Dick Cheney?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know?
No?
Wow, what a fact not to be widely disseminated to the American population.
Well, that's because Karen listens to Channel 24, Fox 7, 9, 11, 13, CNN.
No, I really don't.
Oh, okay.
Watch anything, that's my problem, I don't have any information.
Well, we're not going to give you that information. It's only Joe Carenza on the Real News.
That's doing.
And by the way, I have no intention of committing suicide, because usually when they kill you, they make it look like you committed suicide.
Well, first they have to arm you. Because now they have to rid themselves, they have to rid society of a dangerous menace. So first they have to give you weapons.
Ah.
Or at least plant some weapons, make it look like, you know, to give the appearance that there was some weapons. So you were staging some kind of event, some kind of violent event or happening, and then they had to take you
They
out.
had no choice,
Right.
right. Like they did with Cooper, who wrote the book, Behold the Pale Horse.
Right.
So, Poser, what do you think of our
Mom.
democracy?
I voted for Cynthia McCain.
No questions, that's what's fine.
You voted?
I did.
Oh.
This is excellent.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, you never know. You never know.
Okay.
You never know.
No, what is that?
You know, when I had my
That's
trial, like they had the jury kind of fixed,
Oh, yeah.
because what's supposed to happen is the jury person down in the jury room has the names, and they're supposed to come up to the courtroom with the names, and then the names go into the box, and then the box gets turned, and then the first potential user. You never, that doesn't happen. Well, it certainly didn't happen in my case, in two of my cases. You never see the person, because I was looking for the person, the jury person, never came in with the thing. It never got dumped in. The guy just starts to pick out of the box. At which point I said, wait a minute, he never turned the wheel. Judge goes, well, he did, you just probably weren't watching. So I said, so then you could turn it again. I don't see what problem that would do. And he turned it a couple of times. That's why I came as close as I did to winning. But they're stacking the jury.
Mm-hmm.
They're stacking the jury.
Yeah, your jury was definitely stacked, because I heard it.
You know, they're stacking the jury.
All you need to do is put one single plant to convince 11 other people to vote a certain way because they want to go home. And talk about being a sociopath. that's a sociopathic personality, because you'd rather, it's more important for you to go home in your convenience and send an innocent person to jail to suffer 24/7?
No, it's certainly a self-interested position. Maybe not a sociopathic position.
Well, it's without conscience, they don't even feel guilty about doing such a thing. But, so, Obama's related to Dick Cheney. And you never got a chance to read Kathy O'Brien's book. She details what Dick Cheney had done to her, of which Frank Craven witnessed.
Frank Craven, good.
Oh,
This is a question I'm interested in. If capitalism is now ending as we know it, right, what's going to take its place?
dictatorship. It has to be. It's already a dictatorship.
But this has been a dictatorship, hasn't it?
Yeah. Totally delusional.
Bush wasn't elected.
My view is, there's nothing wrong with communism. I really feel to distribute, amongst everybody, which is, it isn't anymore because now
Well, I
they've gone
read,
to capitalistic sort of,
I know, but it doesn't work. I read Marxism, and in theory, it's perfect, but it doesn't work. Every time they try to enforce communism on the people, it never really worked that way. But in theory, it works. Well, if we had a real democracy, that's
Where are you
beautiful.
going to get a real democracy?
I don't know.
We talk about free and fair elections all over the world, then we find these two candidates now spent over $200 million to get elected to a job that pays $400,000 a year.
Mm.
That's got to raise some eyebrows.
Yeah, it's all about
Where is the free and fair elections in that?
They should put a cap. You can only spend X amount of dollars.
Mhm.
$10,000, go be creative.
They won't do that because it's the elite who's in
$400,000
our
a year, that's what the president gets.
Mhm.
And these CEOs are making $35 million a year.
Mhm.
So, from the beginning, the so-called American experiment was corrupt. That there was some language, I forget what the document was, but something from the historical record that indicated that the founders, meaning that the governing structure of early America was indebted to the King of England. So if they won the Revolutionary War, why would they be indebted to the King of England?
Mhm.
And then right after that, we saw the formation of the Bank of England, right? The functional equivalent of the Bank of England emerged in America, and then it was knocked down, beaten down for a while by Andrew Jackson, and then it just returned. Then we saw the further control of the so-called economy, whereas the economy at one time was at least somewhat the function of depended upon the spending and the saving habits and the business practices of millions of people. And after 1913, you had the formation of the Federal Reserve. They were going to issue currency and control interest rates. And they were going to, that gave a small group of people. There's 12 families that own and control all of the shares in the Federal Reserve System, and nobody else can buy into it.